Let's have a conversation about friends. Are you a good friend? Do you have friends? Can you count on them? Can they count on you? Do you have those friends whereby when you spend time with them, you end up regretting that you actually spent time with them? Are you that friend that people don't want other people to know that you are their friend? What is this friendship thing? What's the definition? What is your definition of what a friend is? Can you count on your friends? Can you call them at any time of the night? Can they count on you? I would like us to have this conversation about friends, because I've realized that many of us have scars that came because we thought we had friends, or we thought we were friends. Can we have this conversation? Welcome to Relating Relationships with Vusemuzu. We are addicted to good conversations. Once again, this is my own observation, and I'm addicted to good conversations. And I'm having this conversation alone, but I'm also having it with you, because I really want to hear what your perception of this whole thing of friendship has been. How good has it been? How bad has it been? But the other thing as well is I want to also put a responsibility on an individual. Me, now as a person, when I say I've got friends, and friends don't do what I expected them to do, and I get hurt, and then the question becomes, why were you hurt? I just want us to have this conversation, and this really was triggered recently by somebody who went through just a crisis that needed friends to come to the party, and it was interesting because this person that I was talking to needed a favor, and to him it was urgent. To him it was important, and to him he felt like, you know what, I can actually depend on friends, not even family. And that's the other thing, again, maybe a conversation that we must have. That why is it that sometimes we depend on people that are external, and we don't, or we are not able to depend on family? But anyway, that's for another day. So this person says, okay, you know what, I've got this challenge, but don't worry, I'm gonna call a few friends, they're gonna come through for me. Later says, you know what, I've called them, and all of them came up with excuses. Does it sound familiar? Have you been in that situation where you're calling on friends for a favor, and they're not there and they're making excuses? And you know, the other question would be, is it really excuses that they're making? Maybe they really are not able to help you. My wife always says to you, we need to learn to think that people are always trying to do the best that they can. So now this person is disappointed. He says, you know, I've called all the people that I have said one point in my life, they said to me, and I guess probably you have said that to somebody, or somebody has said that to you, to say, whenever you need help, my friend, whatever it is, call me, I'll be there for you. Have you been in that situation? Have you been that situation where, have you been that person who says, call me, and when the call comes, then you make excuses? In my life, I've always said I test people that are around me. People that are close to me, who are in my inner circle, all of them have been tested. Yes. That's how I do it. You might be doing differently, but that's what I do. And the reason I do that is because I need to know the people that I have around me, how best to relate with them, who to call when what is happening. When I've got certain crises, I need to know to the person who's going to come. I've got a friend of mine that I know if I get stuck anywhere with a car, I can call them. They will come. And when they come, whatever is wrong with that car will be fixed. Between the two of us, we'll sort it out. I've got a very good friend that I cannot call when I'm in that situation. But if I'm in another situation, I can call them. So how do I then know which friend to call at one point? So for me, that's very important. Let me give you an example. In my case, if you promise me something, I'll test you on it. So I've had incidences where friends say, you know what, there's anytime you need to borrow my car, call on me. It's fine. Anytime you want to use my car, you can always call me. You say that to me, I'm gonna call you. and I'm not gonna call you because I need the car at the time. I'm gonna call you because I want to know where our friendship or relationship stands. Because I'm very relational. I'm very, very relational. So I've had a few friends who said, anytime you want to use my car, call me. And I've called them. Over the years, I've learned. In the beginning, I will call you when I needed the car. Now I've learned to test you before I need the car. So I don't find myself in the same situation with this friend of mine who's calling people and these people are not coming to a party and it's desperate. So I'll call you. And the funny thing is, the excuses that I have found where the car is going for a service. Sounds familiar? Have you made that excuse before? If I remember, I think I have. Thinking about it, I actually have used that excuse before. It works perfectly. Yeah, my car is going for a service. Like, The other one I got was the brake pads. The brake pads needs to be fixed. And then the biggest one, this is a crush of them all, is when somebody is married and they say, ish, my wife. Ish, ish, ish. How do you even, if somebody says, ish, my wife, that's it, finished. All right? So I test people in that sense. Let me give you an example, another personal story in my case. I've got a friend that I know if my life depended on one phone call, I wouldn't call this person. If my life depended on one phone call, this person, he's my friend, very close friend of mine. Trust him, but I don't trust him to answer the phone when I need them. But because I've tested my friendship with him, you know what I'll do? I'll call somebody that I know would answer their phone, and that person would take information, give it to this friend. So let's say this friend A, friend B, right? Friend B is the one that I wouldn't call if my life depended on one phone call. I'll call friend A, and I'll tell friend A to give the information to friend B. So the help will still be required from friend B, but I don't trust friend B with one phone call. Does it make sense? So I know when I'm in a situation, I really know, for me now, who do I call at one point of time? So those are the things that I'm just talking about. So this young man was so hurt that people that he was calling were not coming to the party. How is it going with your friendship? Have you defined even your friendship? Because me, being voice, I ask questions. Because I said to this young man, I said, what made you think this person is your friend? Or these people are your friends? What made you think, when you call on them, did they say that to you? And the answer was, but I was there for them. When they went through this and this, I was there for them. And my next question was, when you were there for them, had they asked for you to be there for them? I know. Most of you are probably going to say, no, but if somebody's a friend, you should not even ask. How's it going for you? Not having asked. How is it going for you? Are you winning? Just being there for people? And guys, in the perfect world, we always say don't expect anything when you help somebody. But the truth of the matter is we expect something when we help you. We do. I sow a seed because I want fruits. Right? If I sow an apple tree, it's because I want apples. So when I help you, one way or the other, in the back of my mind, even if I can say, no, I don't need anything, in the back of my mind somewhere, I'm expecting something. And I was asking Muti, did they ask you? Did they ask for a favor? When you were there for them, did it mean anything to them? Or did it mean anything to you? And if it meant something to you, how do you reconcile the fact that probably it doesn't mean the same thing to them? It's complicated, right? And I can sense like most of us are going to go back now and reevaluate our friendships. And maybe sometimes we need to, so that we know how to survive. So I've written stuff here because I didn't want to forget some of the other things that I wanted to talk about. And I will also talk about my own personal experience. I said to you guys I'm being subjective. This is my own opinions. They are not perfect. I want to hear your opinions as well. So, type of friends that we have. What type of friends do we have? We've got those friends that are there for us when we're having fun. Like a friend of mine or somebody I know. This young man, every time I would see him, he would be in the car with music full blast and a lot of people around him. He always had people around him. And I remember at one point I was like, this young man is actually having fun, man. He is a mover and shaker, Always, and the music, you would hear the car down the road that he's coming. A few years later, I saw him driving alone. Not even the music. And we stopped and we spoke. And the funny thing is, even the music that he was playing this time is not the music that I've heard him play. And in our conversation, we ended up talking about friendships. And he was saying he had stopped taking alcohol, drinking alcohol. He had decided to stop taking alcohol. And he says when he stopped, he realized how many friends he did not have. Is that right, English? It exposed the surrounding, or what he thought was a supporting system for him. He says all of them, one by one, they left. Have you been in that situation? Whereby when you stop giving, people disappear. When you stop feeding people, they disappear. Have you disappeared from somebody because they stopped doing something for you? So he was all alone. And when I spoke to him, one of the challenges that he was having was he didn't know how to spend time alone. And now he has to learn to spend time alone. And he says, sometimes now you even call this friend and say, hey, Autiaka, where are you? And this guy is nowhere to be found at all times. And that brought me to what I will call phases in life, phases in life that we go through that exposes friendship or relationships in our lives. So one of the biggest one is that one where when somebody stops specifically taking alcohol. I've seen that. So when I was growing up, my father used to drink alcohol, and as a result of that, he had a lot of friends, and those friends became my uncles because I was always around him, right? So I had abomalume, babmncane, babomkhulu, who came from that relationship. People that when I grew up, I knew Guti, if anything were to happen in my family, I would go to Uncle Musa, and I know Uncle Musa will cover me. I'll go to Uncle so and so, right? And my father, at one point in his life, he stopped drinking alcohol. So he stopped completely. And little by little, all our babmncane, malume, babomkhulu, they disappeared. Remember, I said these uncles became my uncles because they were my father's drink buddies. They were always there with him. And little, one by one, they disappeared. I was left with only one uncle. And that one uncle as well stopped drinking alcohol. So I've seen this and something that I paid attention to. So one of the first phase in our lives is that, right? The other one is when you're going through difficult times. When you go through difficult times, that's where you're gonna see the friends that are your friends. Now, for me, this was a lesson. My son Unati, you guys have met him on the show, on one of our conversations on the pros and cons of being a firstborn child. When he was a child, he was very sickly, very, very sickly. Guys, we spent most of our time in hospital. During that time, our relationship was tested. I mean, our relationships with people that we called friends, right? And at that time, I learned something. I learned that it is possible that other friendships are built through those difficult times. And because of that, I've learned to now celebrate the people that are around me. Because this is what happened. We had new people that we met during that season. And these were the people who would be in hospital with us, stay the whole time there. If we are not there, they will say, you know what, I'm available, I'll go and I'll sit nonati when you come back from work. People that we met during the time. And the norm, and this is what initially happened, is I was hurting because I had people that I had thought were my friends and I wanted them to be there at that time. And they were not there. And some of them I even learned later that they were not making excuses. They could really not be there. So I learned at that time, Guti, you celebrate the fact that Umusa is here, the fact that Uteri is here during this time. I've learned to celebrate those people and build friendship and relationship with those people, right? Because what we do is I sit in that situation. I've got people that are supporting me, and I sit and I don't pay attention to them. I don't recognize them because I'm crying over people that I deem friends that I had helped in the past. So when you go through a difficult time, it'll be tested. One of the other interesting one is when you get married. When you get married, friendships will be tested. Oh, they will. They definitely will. This is where you will see friendships that will stand. And this one is a tricky one. This one is a tricky one because sometimes friendships in that environment, they don't end because of the two friends. Sometimes they end because of the third person who was added in this friendship, which is your wife or your husband, right? There as well. And there, the interesting thing there is sometimes some of the friendship has to stop for the survival of your marriage. Some other friendships will have to stop. Others, unfortunately, they stop because, and this is another thing that we need to talk about soon, is where I meet my wife Terry. While we are dating, I've got a friend called Musa. and all is fine. I always use Musa because he's my producer. That's Musa that I'm using as an example. So after we get married, and then Terry says, you know what, this friend of yours, Musa, I actually don't like him. How? Kanjani, man, at what point? What happened? You know? And whew, we must talk about this, because at that time, you are put in such a spot to choose between this relationship that's new and the one that you've built over the years. So, relationships, how do you even define it? And the interesting thing with relationship is, I was looking at definitions here for relationship, and you know, I realized that these definitions here, they actually mean nothing, because each and every person has to define what friendship is for them. So what's your definition of friendship? And you know, guys, I would love to hear that. I would love to hear your stories about how friendship has been good to you, or how has it gone. Because the other flip side of it, not the flip side, the other good part of it is you can have genuine friends. You got, whew, guys, my wife and I, we've got a friend. I trust this friend in such a way that if I'm in a situation and I call this person and they say they're gonna come through for me, you know, I can really count on that. You know, if he says I'm gonna be there before sundown, I'm rest assured that he will be there. He's one guy who will catch a train to catch a taxi, to catch an Uber, to catch a Bolt, to be there, right? And this is another thing maybe that we need to look at, is maybe people are reacting to you the way that you've reacted to them. Because this friend Nkulumangaya, he's taught me to be like that for him as well. When he calls, I make sure that I cannot disappoint him, because many times he's never disappointed me. So maybe people are reacting to you the way that you've reacted to them. Maybe people are just showing you the face, or your face, that you never knew that it belonged to you, but they know it. There is friends that are jealous. Are you one of those? There's friends that they only think of themselves. And I think with everything else, the principle of sowing and reaping is always true. To say you will have what you've sown, you will reap what you've sown. So before we point fingers, before I point fingers, before I point a finger at the friend who didn't come to the party when I needed them, maybe I need to evaluate, look back, and see, are they maybe not reacting the same way that I reacted when they wanted to count on me and I was not there? Because that part we forget. So yeah, guys, this is me, just having this conversation. I would love to hear what your views are. I would love to hear, Buti, how has it been going? Those good stories, you know, guys, there's friendships that I desire, where you meet somebody and they say, you know what, we've been friends from primary. There's two guys that I know. They say they've been friends from primary. They're running a company together now. Wow. Wow. Isn't that beautiful? Wouldn't you like that? And when I was talking to them, I made a joke. I said, okay, let's see how it goes when you guys get married. But anyway, this was just me being funny. But Can we have this conversation? I would love to hear what you have to say. My producer gave me a challenge. He says, Vusa, I hear what you're saying about friendships. I understand what you're saying. It would be nice to have somebody that you call a friend on the show. And let's test your theory. Let's test if what you're saying is true. Because the truth of the matter is, it needs to be tested. Can we test our friendships altogether? Now, I'm gonna bring somebody. I'm gonna bring somebody that you guys have met. He's a very close friend of mine. You've met him on this show. But you know what would be nice is you guys can actually give me questions that you would like for us to answer, or questions that I must ask him or he must ask me. Help us to test this relationship and see how was it built, what made it to be what we deem as a relationship, what happened, because guys, something always has to happen for these relationships to be called relationships, these friendships to be called friendship. As long as you guys are just drink buddies and no one has gone through a crisis and you are there, yeah. So I'm gonna call him. He's gonna come. But guys, can we have this conversation? I would love to hear your stories. I would love to hear. Maybe we can do a evaluation form together. How to evaluate friendships, right? That'd be nice. So guys, if you can post those questions, send those questions, and I'm gonna call him to come, and so that we can have this wonderful conversation. Again, this is Relating Relationship, and we are addicted to good conversations, and I know that you are as well. Relating Relationships, addicted to good conversations. See you on the other side. Thank you.
We depend on you, Jesus. We rely